Good evening, and welcome to the Miracle of Prosperity here on the New Thought Media Network. It's such an honor and such a pleasure to be here. I'm your host, Reverend Jim Webb, author of the book, The Soul of Prosperity, as well as Prosperity from A to Z, 30 P's to Prosperity, and one that is quite seasonally appropriate, Creating Your Self-Manifesting Vision Board. So tonight, we're going to talk about one of the most auspicious days in the prosperity calendar. One of the most auspicious days in the prosperity calendar is January 12th. It's auspicious in many ways. For the first reason it's auspicious is that it's the day when all of those Christmas presents that you thought were so nifty start going back in the closet because you stopped using them. It's auspicious also because all those New Year's resolutions that you made begin withering away. Like crabs in a barrel, you start drifting and shifting on those resolutions. And the inner saboteurs, those inner no's that attack your yes, start coming out. So tonight, we're going to talk about silencing your inner saboteurs. And the reason that that is so important is because otherwise, those saboteurs can take our desire for financial prosperity and sabotage it. Our desire for relationship prosperity, those saboteurs will sabotage it. Our desire for professional prosperity, where we have the perfect job with perfect pay, where we provide a wonderful service in a wonderful way, those saboteurs will sabotage it. Our task is to meet them before they have a chance to sabotage our prosperity. And so we're going to work with that tonight and how we can address these silent saboteurs so that they can no longer sabotage every aspect of our prosperity. And as you can probably see, I have a very special guest here. And one of your favorites, that's Ed Miller, author of Soul Power. We're here in Fort Lauderdale in his office and studio, and he's going to talk with us about this. So we're so glad to have you, Ed. Welcome, Ed.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I'm always blessed, and now we're in the new year.
Yes.
And we get a chance to connect and do a program together. Exactly. And this is an important program too.
Yes.
Because this has been where I am right now. I'm in a place now where I'm exploring sabotaging thoughts and beliefs. And I'm trying to do it in the moment. So I can be aware of what's coming through and not follow it in belief and in my emotional belief. So it's been an interesting time. I think this practice I have of becoming aware of the sabotaging thought or belief is giving me the space to choose happiness more, to choose peace more, to stay in awareness longer.
Okay.
You know, without getting caught up in stories of dysfunction, stories of inadequacy, or stories of threat, because that's what the sabotaging thought does. It always takes you out of your peace. It takes you out of your heart. It takes you out of your awareness and pulls you into a dream.
Okay. Just like A Course in Miracles says, it's a dream and it pulls you into that savage fantasy.
It does.
So you just said something that was so important, and I'd like to elaborate on it for our viewers. What you said is you catch it before it drags you down the black hole.
Absolutely.
So tell us, how do you catch it? Is there a certain...
I think that's so great. And maybe it takes developing and building greater awareness.
Okay.
But I am very careful now and very consciously aware of when I'm triggered.
Okay.
With a thought, with an emotional, when my emotions get engaged, when my feelings get a little overwhelmed, I start to become aware because I know there's a thought that's connected to whatever that emotional response is.
Okay.
So what I do is immediately, before I get drug into the story of it, I deal with the sensation. Right now I'm feeling something.
Okay.
I'm feeling either overwhelmed, I'm feeling anxiety, I'm feeling energy, whatever. I'm feeling it right now, but there's nothing wrong.
Okay.
There's nothing here that's wrong.
Okay.
And that to me is a great tool for me to pull myself out of the dream.
Okay.
Because I start to remember that I can't be this dream. I can't be any of these sabotaging ideas. I can't be any of these limited ideas.
Okay.
I can't be any of these thoughts of wrong or judgment or insufficient. I can't be any of those things.
Okay.
So when I'm triggered and I'm finding my mind becoming aware of the thought that I'm stuck in, I can let it go in breath. I can allow myself to feel the sensation of the energy that the thought has and not rejecting it. Because what happens is Reverend Jim, as soon as you start to reject a thought, we then are suppressing it.
Yes.
Or we're then trying to distract ourselves from it. But it's okay to feel everything. You just have to be aware of the story you're telling yourself about it.
Yes. He just said something very important, folks. Feel everything, judge nothing.
Yes.
In A Course in Miracles, there's a lesson. I will not judge anything that God has created. For everything has been created to either trigger you or bless you. If it triggers you into awareness so that you can heal it and then accept the blessing that you have been withholding from yourself. If it already blesses you, mazel tov, keep going forward. So thank you, Ed, for that insight.
What I want to share with you, and I want you to share with me, the moment when you feel a trigger. And what is your first response? Once like I say something to you that makes you, that it ignites some emotional memory or whatever. How do you handle that?
I use the stylistics message.
Okay.
Stop, look, and listen.
Stop, look, and listen. Yeah.
Yes.
Breathe is always good too.
Yes.
Breathing's always good too.
Yes. It's like, take a breath.
Yes.
And in that breath, there's that natural interruption.
Yes.
That natural interruption, which gives you a chance to stop. And when you stop, it's like, okay, I stopped. I'm not going to get sucked down into the black hole. I'm going to step back and observe this more objectively, because the breath is the breath of God.
Absolutely.
Right? And when you receive and take that breath of God, you're elevating yourself to that higher vibratory level. And from that higher vibratory level, you can look down on this thing that has triggered you and you can see it more objectively.
Absolutely.
So you stop, you look, you listen. And I listen for the lie. And
there you go. We listen to the lie for the lie. Yes.
Yes. I listen. So and I love what you just said, and it tracks so much with A Course in Miracles. Remember, folks, A Course in Miracles says only love is real. And when we are in any illusion that we are not loved, and therefore we have an unloving thought, even though we may be feeling that thought, it's not what God created. It's a story we made up or that we bought into. And so it's not real. And so what Ed said that was just so brilliant, folks, was this isn't me.
No.
I can't be having this because I'm the holy, beloved child of God. I'm not this thing that this story is telling me.
Also, self-awareness is a muscle.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's something that you've got to build stronger capacity. Now, you can do it with meditation. I think meditation helps self-awareness.
Okay. But
self-awareness happens in breath. It happens when you get a chance to step out of the story and see the energies that you're being caught in. And I'm at a place in my evolution, Reverend Jim, where I'm all about paying attention.
Okay.
Yeah, paying attention to my thoughts, paying attention to the sensations, paying attention to my patterns too.
Because tell me about that.
I am just like everybody else. I'll get triggered, and I'll start getting caught up in the dream.
Yes. Okay.
And it starts to feel, and everybody knows how this feels. It feels there's a righteous indignation to I'm feeling, and then you find your mind getting sucked into this dream. But there is always, no matter how, if you're in it for an hour, if you're in it for 10 minutes, if you're in it for 10 seconds, there's always an opportunity to disrupt it.
Yes.
There's always an opportunity to remember the truth. There's always an opportunity to go back to the space, the truth of yourself as conscious awareness, because that's who we are.
Yes.
We're conscious awareness, so we don't have to get caught up in any story at all.
Yes.
And so what I do is I use the sensations that I'm feeling in my body. I'm using the triggers, the thoughts that create those sensations, and I'm using them as an opportunity to become more self-aware.
Yes. And I love one of the things that you said about the more we practice meditation or any other tool of self-awareness, what we're doing, folks, is we are then creating that space of heaven. Each time we go into deep meditation, each time we feel that deep, deep peace, each time we feel embraced by light, each time we feel infilled by light, each time we feel at one with light, we are creating more of a muscle memory of heaven. And the more we create that muscle memory of heaven, the more that can become our default state.
Exactly.
And when that becomes our default state, then anything that doesn't feel like that is going to feel weird instead of it feeling natural. So it's going to start feeling weird to feel anxious. It's going to start feeling weird to feel overwhelmed. It's going to start feeling weird to feel mad or sad.
Absolutely. I love what you said because sometimes sad is an energy that I experience, but there's no story there doesn't need to be a story behind it.
Yes, yes.
But I can accept that I'm dealing with an energetic emotion that may be feeling sad, but it's not wrong.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that's what we're used to doing. If we're feeling sad, I don't want to feel that. You know, and that's a sabotaging thought. I don't want to feel things. This is not who I want to be. That's all sabotaging thoughts that keep us, deflected, distracted, and not feeling, giving ourselves the moment, giving ourselves a piece of whatever the opportunity is, because we're so busy deflecting and distracting ourselves from it.
And you just said something. Everything you say is brilliant. That's why I love you as a guest, because you are the best. But you just said something so important. You said, this thought is not who I want to be. And when we have that thought, we believe we are that thought instead of that thought being something we are experiencing.
Yes.
And that's why stepping up to that higher level helps us to see you're still the holy, beloved child of God. You are just having a momentary experience where you lapsed into a dream. But the truth of you still exists. Like that lesson in A Course in Miracles, I'm feeling this, but I'm still holy. I'm feeling that, but I'm still holy. This is where I was, but I'm still holy. And that going up to that level keeps us
It does.
at that place.
And also with sabotaging thoughts, like what we're talking about, the higher in awareness you become, the less affected you are by the thought.
Yeah.
And after a while, a thought will come into mind that used to maybe trigger you into emotional response that you're like, okay, I don't have to handle that. It just comes and goes.
Yes.
And that's what the growth and healing is.
Yes.
It comes from awareness, and it becomes aware that you're not clinging to stories anymore. You're allowing yourself to have emotional expression that's bringing a new point of view to your mind.
Yes. Can I tell you a story about that I just realized?
Yes.
Okay. This is amazing. Thank you. Now I know what it is for. There's a lesson in A Course in Miracles that says, I don't know what anything is for. And we think that we got this happened because of that, this, that, and the other, when everything is to teach us, right?
Everything.
Well, let me tell you what happened this afternoon. I got a parking ticket on my rental car.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear. Exactly. And my first thought was, oh, dear. And then my second thought was, oh, well.
Yes.
And let me tell you why that was so important. Because years ago, when I would get a parking ticket or something like that, I would feel like I was going to be in prison. You know why? Because my standard of perfection for myself was up here. Yeah. And a parking ticket was, I'm a bad boy.
It meant that you were shabby, that you weren't paying good attention. It had a lot of negative connotations.
Yes.
Now, when you got the parking ticket this time, what was the process? How did you get free of it so quickly?
Oh, well, they'll send me a bill and I'll pay it.
It doesn't affect who I am. In awareness, the story is sometimes so simple.
Right. Yeah. They'll send me a bill and I'll pay it, and I got plenty of money to pay it with. And, so the story wasn't there anymore.
No.
And because the story wasn't there, I didn't get drawn into a rabbit hole. I went on about my business, and I came to meet you, and we had dinner. We had a wonderful time. I didn't even know you guys. And I didn't
even know you were a juvenile delinquent. I didn't even know.
You see? And you know why you didn't even know? Because I didn't come in with a long face crying crocodile tears witching and moaning about the fact that I was going to get a $75 ticket and it was going to come next month in my credit card and it was going to be a surprise and I was going to be traumatized and I was going to feel like a bad boy. Because guess what? That wasn't the case.
That wasn't the case.
And that was a lesson in how far we can come with this.
I am so glad we're talking about personal situations because we got to be vigilant.
Yes.
In exploring those triggers.
Yes.
Because when you got the parking ticket, you're right. You start thinking about, it triggers all the, now I've got bad luck and this is not what I wanted and I got to figure out how to get, all those problematic thoughts.
Right, right.
Instead of you engaging in any of them, because those problematic thoughts have wings of their own. They can drive and fly other places. But if you can shut it down immediately, say, oh, there's nothing wrong.
It's like, whatever.
Yeah, this is just another thing. This is just another thing in mind.
Exactly.
There's really nothing wrong here.
And so that parking ticket was an absolute blessing to me because it was an indication of how far I've come. So it was like, thank you, universe. I don't know what anything is for. This parking ticket was a blessing to show me how far I've come.
Yeah.
No money trauma, no bad boy trauma, no the police are going to come get me and shoot me with a gun and point it at my head trauma. Done.
But what we're talking about is so nuanced.
Yes.
You got it because you got a chance to use this parking ticket as an opportunity to become more self-aware.
Yes.
But every other turn is an opportunity to become more self-aware.
Yes.
Because every other turn is an opportunity to be aware of what the emotional response is being triggered in you.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's hold that thought. And we're going, I saw some folks writing in. We're so glad you did. We're so glad you're here. And we're so glad you're a part of this discussion. So we're going to take your questions, and we're going to do so after the break. So put your questions in the chat, and we'll bring in our producer, Michael Mangus, and he's going to help us with this since someone is not wearing their glasses and can't see the questions on the screen. So we'll be right back here on The Miracle of Prosperity.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Spiritual Center, Kitchener, Om Center for Spiritual Living, La Mesa, Satya Center, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for making New Thought Media Network a place to be. Please come be you. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Choice. Your creative superpower. We have the power to manifest as we dedicate attention to our thoughts, but often miss opportunity to achieve the greatest good. Your superpower is waiting to be unleashed to unlock a fuller, more rewarding world for all. Join us every Thursday at noon Mountain Time for Choice, Your Creative Superpower with Zoe DeMuro.
And we're back here on The Miracle of Prosperity with one of your favorite guests and mine, Ed Miller. Now, I have a little confession to make. We were chatting during the break. And one of the things we were chatting about was another strategy for addressing our silent saboteurs. Because beneath the thought is a belief. And for example, in my book, The Soul of Prosperity, I have a section where we look at all of those beliefs. And we were talking about how the belief beneath the thought is what needs to be deconstructed. Why is that so important, Ed?
Well, because we can get caught up in stories.
Okay.
And stories are very distracting.
Yeah.
They aren't what the problem is. The problem is the belief that we're believing, that we're caught up in.
Break that down again. Tell it to you need to repeat stuff for me because I'm
going to give you an example of my wife this morning.
Okay.
She'll probably kill me to tell this story. But she was telling me about she doesn't like to feel put upon.
Okay.
And when she's in business situations, she likes being generous, she likes being kind, but she doesn't like when people drag her and want things from her.
Okay.
She said it makes her feel anxious. It makes her feel like she's not enjoying the intimacy between them because she feels everybody wants something from her.
Yes, okay.
And so I was thinking, this is a successful woman who's very accomplished. Why does she feel dragged? What's the belief? What is she believing?
Yes.
That's keeping her stuck in this, not enjoying being out and not enjoying sharing her heart and sharing sharing herself with people. What is this being dragged? What is she believing?
Right.
So it broke down to what she was believing is that she isn't enough, or that she's inadequate, or that she has to be responsible.
Yes.
And when we talked about that,
okay.
And I said, well, you need to be aware when you're in these situations and you're feeling put upon.
Yes.
Remember, that's just a thought.
Right.
You can't be put upon. You can feel put upon, but in truth of the matter, you need to create that space around what the belief is. The belief is that you're capable of handling anything. Nobody can put anything on you.
Yeah.
You can only put things on yourself. So when we talked about this, she was able to get a tool to use when she feels triggered and feeling overly responsible. If somebody's going to drag her, somebody's going to require something from her she doesn't want to.
And somebody has this lofty expectation of her that she has to rise to meet, and she doesn't know if she can rise to meet it, and it rubs up against her insecurity.
Absolutely. So so in those situations when you're feeling those triggers, break it down. Break it down to find out what you're believing. This got you caught up in this syndrome.
Okay.
And the opportunity is to let go of it.
Yes.
My mind is believing that, but it's not true.
Okay.
There's really nothing here. I'm conscious awareness, or I'm a divine being.
Okay.
I'm not any of these small ideas that I'm believing at this time.
Yes.
And you got to be willing to do that quickly to get out of the story.
You got to learn that skill.
Yes.
So let's break it down to what the actual skill is. The skill is, this is the trigger, this is how I'm feeling, this is the beneath. This is the belief.
The belief.
Beneath the feeling. The belief beneath the feeling is always a belief that there is not enough love. There is not enough love that you would respect me for who I am, whether I accomplish this thing that you expect of me or not. There is not enough love for you to hear me, and therefore I feel unheard or unseen. There is not enough love to support me on this mission that you expect of me. There's always a belief that breaks down ultimately into a belief that there is not enough love.
Yes.
So what's the truth?
Well, the truth is that who we truly are.
Yes.
We're conscious awareness. We're divine spaciousness.
Yes.
We're divine beings. You can some people are courageous enough to call themselves God. I'm God.
Yes. And what is God?
God is divinity. It's
and love.
Being. Yes, love. Yeah. And I'm love too. That's another thing you can always resent.
Yes.
You can remember that, when your mind is in a problematic story and you've been triggered, you can remember yourself as love.
Yes.
So if you remember who you are as love, then you can't bear anything.
Right.
Love doesn't have to bear anything.
Right.
Not true love.
And if you are love, then you are love, so there must be enough love because you are love.
Exactly. I am that.
And so any unloving thought that is at that core belief is obliterated by the truth.
Yes.
That you are love and God is love.
Yes.
And you are one with God and one with love. So you are enough, You are loved. You are lovable. You are love-able. You are capable. You are powerful. You are whole. And you are perfect for God's purpose.
Absolutely. And do you see how that's a muscle?
Yes.
That awareness of the truth of yourself is a muscle that you have to continue to stay on. You got to continue to relate to.
Yes.
And no matter how much your mind wants to drag into stories, and sometimes we can feel it viscerally in our body being dragged into a story. You ever had that feeling where you're like, I'm about to believe some
you're
crap.
working my nerves.
Yeah.
You working my nerves. And you even working nerves I didn't even know I had.
And at that moment, you can, and when you're being drawn into an emotional reaction, you could then give yourself the space.
Yes.
And give yourself remembrance of the truth of who you are. And you know what? I think that there's some of our guests are going to not say, well, this sounds Pollyanna. This sounds not real. It is real. Yes. I had to learn to relate to myself in a different way. I wasn't this body mind. I wasn't this persona.
Yes.
I wasn't all these identities that I've inherited in my lifetime.
Yes.
I'm greater than that.
Yes. Remember that song by the Jets, Make It Real?
Make it real, yes.
Give me one more chance to make it real.
Exactly.
Yes. This is how you make it real. You make it real by experiencing that love. You make it real by practicing your meditation muscle, your love muscle, your peace muscle, your power muscle every single day.
Compassion muscle.
Your compassion muscle. Yes. And every time you make it real, then the world and your trigger is able to diminish in its power to knock you off your peak, knock you off your pedestal. And when you make the truth of love real, the illusion of inadequacy or being unloved becomes more clear. And you can see that more clearly as an illusion.
And sometimes, in this space of greater awareness, a new story is arised.
Tell us about
and
that.
Often the new story is about love. Everything is good. I'm at peace. I'm connected. I'm enthusiastic about myself and the things I'm doing and the people I'm involved in. That's the new story that can come out of the space.
And let me tell you something about that. Because when I got that ticket and I thought, the rental company is going to send me another bill in like a month. It's going to be $75 for the ticket and another $25 for them to process it. And I'm going to get a bill for $100. You know what happened between the time that I took that ticket off the windshield and the time that I sat down in my car?
What, you took care of that?
My Cash App. We went,
okay.
And somebody signed up for one of my classes. It's like, ticket paid. Amen.
He was right there.
Ticket paid. My Cash App went, you know that cash register sound that Cash App makes when you get paid? Amen. Bling.
You know, you make a good point. You believe as though your source is everywhere. You know, if I have a liability here, there's so much resource here that I have access to.
Right.
And so you don't ever have to feel deprived or put upon.
Yes.
Or somebody's taking something away from you. You don't have to feel those feelings. Because you can believe who you are.
Yes.
You can always go back to the reality of the truth of your nature.
Exactly. And my nature is abundance. Amen.
Yes.
So my nature was, okay, I see a deficit here. What does abundance do? Abundance fills that void immediately. Let me tell you something. Between the time it took to pick that thing out of the windshield and sit down in my car, that thing rang.
And you know, you're talking about an exercise which people need to be aware of.
Yes.
You were triggered with a thought of financial responsibility.
Yes.
You looked at it. This is just an opportunity.
Yes.
And as soon as that energy of this is an opportunity comes, the resource comes to teach you exactly how to solve that problem.
Exactly.
And it's really that magical.
It truly is.
I know that people are going to say, "Oh, no, that didn't happen for me that way." I think it comes down to your expectation.
Yes.
Your expectation is that you are abundantly blessed.
Yes.
And there is no bar or constriction that keeps you from your good.
Exactly.
And because of that, your good is going to always come to you. No matter what the life situation or circumstances are.
In an infinite number of ways, through an infinite number of channels. Because let me tell you how many times something that I have needed has come through an unexpected channel in an unexpected way at an unexpected time without my even bidding it. And that can be the case for all of us. And it's developing the consciousness. And what is developing anything? Like when you develop your muscles at the gym, it's repeating, repeating. Now, there's two things about developing the consciousness. It's repetitious. Learning, healing, and transforming is repetitious. But the other thing you need to know, folks at home, is that healing, transforming is also cumulative.
Oh, it is.
It's cumulative. The more you do it, I always love, because I'm an 80s guy, and dancing at the clubs in the 70s and the 80s is my thing.
Are you trying to say I'm an old man? 80s guy.
So I always think of it like the dance floor. If you remember, folks, some of you were back there with me when we all had hair. Remember when we had those big fros, right? And those 17-inch platform shoes and those bell-bottom flare jeans that went over the front and the back of the platform. Remember that? Well, back then, there was this phenomena where you got to the club early enough, right? And people would be milling around the side, and it was silent. Nobody was on the dance floor. They were playing some old schlocky music that nobody wanted to dance to anyway, right? And then little by little, the dance floor got more crowded, right? Mm-hmm. And little by little, you could hear the murmur, the level of the decibel level going up of the music. You could feel the lights going down little by little. You could feel people getting more anxious. Then all of a sudden, they put on a song, boom, and the dance floor was packed. That's because it reached a cumulative critical mass. And all of a sudden there was this explosion. Well, healing and transformation is cumulative that same way. Is. You might do something over and over and over and over again, and you might not immediately see the results. And then one day, boom, just like the dance floor got packed, that thing will fly into place immediately, effortlessly. And it'll seem like a miracle, but it's a miracle you've been working on for
well, there's also, you have to give yourself credit.
Yes.
I mean, we are so chintzy and cheap with ourselves, but when you are having a moment of expansion, you're having a moment of good feeling, of goodwill, of love of self, give yourself credit.
Yes.
Say, look at me, I'm feeling whole and full and in love.
Yes.
And continue to be aware of that. Give yourself credit for it, because that's building that muscle also.
Yes. Savor the pie.
Yes.
Savor the pie. You know what I'm talking about. The folks at home, they need to know our inside jokes, right? We were at dinner, right? And so then we went to this other place because they had rhubarb strawberry pie, which I learned I loved. I didn't even know I loved it. And so we were sitting there, and Ed was looking at me, and I'm like, oh, I love this pie. And every piece of that pie I took, I just kept saying, he thought I was autistic. Oh, I love this pie. 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 But I was just so in that moment.
Yes, it wasn't even about the pie.
Right. Tell them about it.
It wasn't about the pie. It was about you were in a moment of love and expansion.
Yes.
And the pie was just another vehicle for you to feel open and love and the deliciousness of life.
Yes.
And that's what I got out of that. I mean, I'm sure you enjoyed the pie, but you were in love.
Yes. Yes. And that's important. And you see, and another aspect of this is what we kind of allude to in the beginning of the program. You think that prosperity is money and stuff, but prosperity is anything that is indicative of being in a state of love.
Yes.
So developing that inner consciousness of love is developing that prosperity consciousness. So we were going to invite our producer, Michael, on the air, because Michael, we can't see the screen to see the interactions with the guests. So maybe you can help us with some of the guest interactions and comments.
Well, first of all, great show this evening. How wonderful. And I just got a call from the New Thought Media Network legal department. They said, don't worry about it. Robert will pay for it. No, Reverend Robert will not pay for your ticket. So let's see who's on our comments here. Let's see here. Deborah wrote in, she says, yes, I agree. Those ego moments are feeling strange, but they are less frequent and easily resolved. And I think that gets back to the whole idea of in meditation, the developing of an observer self.
Yes.
That what happens is that when someone cuts you off, instead of going into the old behavior, something just says, "Are you sure you really want to do that?"
Yes.
Because that's what happens. My observer self just says, just kind of puts its hand on my chest and says, "You sure you really want to do that?" So I think that's a muscle that's developed through meditation. So that's why
we use the term meditation, but we're also talking about mindfulness, which is
and prayer.
Yes. Well, I think again, any type of spiritual practice, I think that really helps to develop that sense of, well, again, I really relate with getting the parking ticket. That stuff happens, and that again, it's my reaction, not my response. So. She says I say everything's a miracle when I have the equivalent of a ticket or worse. We don't know what God is doing. Yes. Thank you, Shay, very, very much. And also from Mignon, she says, I love the dynamic and chemistry that the two of you co-create.
Oh.
Hold on here. We have another comment from her. She says,
okay.
When we remember our holy self, as the bulk of who we are, something shifts. Great example. Thank you, Mignon. That's very, very, very helpful. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, wonderful.
Anything else, or that's all that we have right now? If you have a comment or our guests have a question here, we have a few more minutes. Please put it in the comments, and we will have these two gentlemen who are in 65-degree weather in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, while I am here at the Ohio studio, and outside it is 6 degrees above zero with a wind chill factor of 10 below zero. So thank you. Thank you very much. So could you guys send some warmth my way? I'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely. We're doing it right now. So we'll go to break so that other people can ask some other questions, and then we'll come back. We'll answer the last questions, and we'll come back with a few surprises here on the New Thought Media Network.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
We're back here on the Miracle of Prosperity. The subject tonight is silencing your inner saboteurs. Your inner critic that tends to criticize everything that you do is very observant. You might want to give it an opportunity to observe all the good in life instead of observing all the, quote, mistakes, end quote, that it judges you for. The inner judge, which looks outside and sees a wicked, hostile world and judges everything as a threat, has excellent powers of perception. You might want to redeploy the inner judge to perceive the divine intention or the divine meaning, purpose, or lesson in everything instead of perceiving everything as a threat. The inner sinner, which is the part of you that believes that it is sinful, you might want to remind it of its holiness. And the inner saint, which believes that there is this idealized version of you, and if you miss the mark, something's wrong. You might want to teach them that you are a unique combination of human and spiritual. And sometimes your human side is going to prevail, and other times your spiritual side is going to come in and save the day. So there are so many ways to address your inner saboteurs. We're talking about some of them tonight in my book, The Soul of Prosperity. There's a whole chapter, chapter 9, which deals with addressing your inner saboteurs. Ed, you've been so helpful. Are there any other thoughts that you have on this?
I talk about that in my book, Uncovering and Embracing Soul Power. I have a chapter in there about the saboteur also.
Yes, tell us about
because
that.
Because I had a life where whenever I went after big goals, big accomplishments I was trying to get done I would have a part of me that was always looking for an expert.
Okay.
I was always in search of the expert that was going to save me from either my lack of knowledge, my lack of experience, my threat of failure. This expert was going to save me.
This external expert.
Yeah, this external expert. Somebody who's going to save me.
Okay.
And I would often hire consultants. I would hire people to be of assistance to me in my big goals and stuff.
Right.
And every time I did, I would be let down. Because I was looking for my savior to be out there in someone else.
Okay.
I was always looking for somebody smarter than me. Remember, my issue was that I never thought I was smart enough.
Yeah,
so I was always looking for smart outside of me. And so what would happen over and over again is that I would face the reality is that this person that I'm idealizing and trying to look as my hero has lead feet. And they really aren't what I've made them out to be in my mind. And I really need to figure out how to save myself. Because me looking for them to save me, it's never going to happen.
Okay.
You know, I need to pay attention to my capabilities and what I can get done. And stop letting my need to be saved sabotage my projects, my developments, my demonstrations, because I would do that over and over again, looking for experts, looking for people I thought were smarter than me.
So the inner script was, I am not enough.
I am not enough.
And so you discovered the truth. Everything I need is within
Absolutely. But the I am not enough, and enough is out there. It's not in me.
Okay.
So when I'm believing enough is out there in the world, and that I have to be in pursuit of the expert, I'm going to always be let down and disappointed for that. and I always am.
Mm-hmm.
So what I learned is as I've gotten older, I don't fall into that. I can still sometimes fall into the wanting the expert. But generally now I know when I feel the feeling of wanting the expert, I realize I'm losing. I'm getting caught up in a sabotaging response.
Yes.
That's going to turn out bad.
Greater is the power of God within you than is the power in the world.
Yep.
Amen?
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. 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 So what are you working on these days?
I talk about my book, Uncovering and Embracing Soul Power. And I'm going to be doing in March a book club. And I'm trying to amass at least 20 people who have read the book and who are looking for sharing their experiences and sharing their insights they got from the book, chapter by chapter. So we're probably going to do it in about 12 different sessions. But more information will be provided through my website and in my social media. And I will let you know.
Yes, please.
More about how we're going to be recruiting the people to be part of our book club.
Can you recruit me? Because I love it.
I'd love to have you.
Okay.
Because it's going to be cool.
Yes.
We're going to discuss what's spiritual evolution looks like.
Yes.
What healing our hearts look like.
Okay.
How we can be part of an evolved way of being.
Yes.
Instead of caught up in our stories and our dysfunction.
Yes.
That's kind of what the book is about, and I'm excited about having a book club about it.
Oh, good. I'm excited to be a part of it if I'm invited because I love that book. I
absolutely. So what have you been up to?
Oh, well, I've got some new classes coming up. It's January, right?
Excellent.
Yes.
January, exactly.
Yes, exactly. Guess what we're doing first of all?
What's that?
The first thing we're doing is bringing your vision board to life. Bringing your vision board to life. It's a pop-up class, and it's this coming Thursday from 7:30 to 9:30. And what you see up there is you see the flyer for it, and you see in the flyer that there are ways to bring your vision board to life so that it absolutely manifests itself. The creation of the vision board is actually the creation of the thing if you do it the right way. So we're going to look at a lot of techniques for doing it, so for creating the vision board in such a way that it already manifests itself.
Beautiful.
And then I've got 2 6-week classes going on too.
Okay.
My Monday night class, which is in a sense an extension of the vision board class. We get all these advice from mere mortals on doing the vision board.
Yes.
But you know what I found is the best advice for doing a vision board comes from spirit.
Mm.
In some of our previous explorations, what we found is that spirit had us rearrange the vision board. Spirit had us focus and meditate on this portion of the vision board this way, focus and meditate on that portion of the vision board this day. Spirit has a lot of guidance for how we can leverage the vision board and make it manifest. So we're going to do 6 weeks of Spirit Speaks on creating your vision.
That is
where
excellent.
Spirit will give everybody individual guidance on how to manifest the vision on their vision boards.
Beautiful.
So that's Monday. That begins next Monday, January 22nd. It's for 6 weeks. And I'm doing something else.
Well, you're just starting the year hot, aren't you? What's this other
I
one?
am. I'm on fire. I saw Madonna a few weeks ago. And that song, I'm Burning Up for Your Love,
Yeah,
I'm on fire.
And like a virgin.
Well.
Go on, sorry.
The other class, I hope I can get my train of thought back now. The other class is Happy Relationships, Happy Life.
That's right.
And, there was this old, very misogynistic and very sexist saying, happy wife, happy life.
Sure.
It's an antiquated, misogynistic, and sexist saying. But the kernel of truth in that
is the kernel of truth in that, yes.
That relationships are the X factor of happiness.
Absolutely.
And if you want a happy life, develop happy relationships.
That's right.
So this 6-week class is going to be very interactive. It's going to be exercises, prayers, healing, and coaching, counseling, and advice based on your specific situations for how you can develop healthy relationships, happy relationships, balanced relationships, supportive relationships. Because you know what? If you have happy, healthy, balanced, supportive relationships, you have a happy, supportive, balanced, healthy life.
You do. You do.
So that's what I'm up to. And that's 6 weeks. It starts on January 25th. So there's a discount for prepayment with pre-registration. Get your registrations in. To do so, just dial that number at the bottom of the screen. You can use it on Venmo, PayPal, and you can go to my website and you can get all the details. And we'll see you in these classes. They're going to be fantastic. I know that. So that's what I'm up to.
That sounds excellent.
So we've had a wonderful time here tonight.
I think so too. I always enjoy our discussions.
You have no idea how happy I am right now. This to me has been one of the most wonderful and healing shows. And we appreciate you. I appreciate you. My audience appreciates you. We all are thankful to you. Thank you for being on the show tonight, my brother.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you. And we'll be back next week here on the New Thought Media Network.